Hello everyone, this is Six Path Weeb, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into an intriguing what-if scenario. What if Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji were on Naruko's team? Part 3. We'll explore how their unique skills and personalities could have completely changed the dynamics, strategies, and outcomes of the story. Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer: the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion purposes. I do not own any of the anime footage used. Full credit goes to the original creators and copyright holders. Alright, let's get started and see how this alternate team-up could have unfolded. Hiruzen coughed unexpectedly, having misjudged his pipe, upon hearing the surprising request. Kakashi gave a small look of concern, but Sarutobi waved it off. "I'm fine, don't worry. I may be older, but I'm in good health," the Hokage said with a warm smile. "Your request has certainly caught me off guard. Are you certain this is the right course? Your team is inexperienced." Kakashi nodded. "I've tried everything else, and this might be exactly what they need." Sarutobi considered this thoughtfully. "Very well. I know just what to give you then." "But why not? You're my sensei. Aren't you supposed to teach me things like this?" "Yes, Naruko, but how can I teach you about a weapon I don't use?" Anko replied. "If you're determined to learn, you'll have to find someone to guide you on your own time." "All right," Naruko muttered, but then her eyes lit up. "I know just who to ask. See you later, Anko-sensei." "Kiba," she promised before dashing off. Kiba watched her figure fade into the distance. Who was she talking about? "No clue," she shrugged. "But since it's just us now, we might as well work on your summoning technique. First, though, tell me about your conversation with Naruko the other day." Kiba blinked in surprise. What conversation?" "The two of you had lunch together after Naruko was acting unusual. And without a proper conversation? That seems unlikely. Tell me everything, kid." Kiba sighed. All right. She mentioned being a little worried because the Kyuubi had a plan that Naruko had to follow. Thanks to you, she didn't need to. That spirit was so determined to avoid Inoenji's control that it ended up cooperating with her. That's when Naruko realized Inoenji wanted to take the Ninetales for himself. So she felt a bit overwhelmed realizing how important she was. That makes sense. She seems calmer now, she noted, though her mind was elsewhere. Inoenji would have used Naruko just as badly as any other ambitious group. The child doesn't fully understand the dangers she might face. We should prepare her. Though the Hokage prefers to keep it quiet. "Anko-sensei?" She refocused on Kiba. "I'm ready if you are." "Where are we going, Kakashi-sensei?" Ino asked. Before he could answer, another ninja turned the corner and collided with Sasuke, causing both to stumble with exclamations of discomfort. "Naruko!" Ino and Sakura shouted, holding back their frustration. Sasuke got up and accidentally kicked dirt toward Naruko as he did. "Careful," he muttered. "Why don't you teach her a lesson, Sasuke?" Ino teased. Sakura raised her hand to join, but Kakashi intervened. "That's enough. We have a mission, and you're all wasting time." Naruko stood up, brushing herself off. "Sorry, Kakashi-sensei. Partly my fault, I suppose," she admitted. "I wasn't looking for you. But maybe you've seen Genma today?" "Hey! You can't just barge in asking favors. And why apologize to Kakashi? Sasuke's the one you bumped into," Sakura exclaimed. "For once, Ino has a point," Sasuke added. "I don't need to apologize to Sasuke," Naruko said firmly. "Enough, everyone," Kakashi warned, silencing them immediately. Even Sasuke seemed slightly intimidated, though the warning wasn't directed at him. "Naruko, I believe Genma is training with his team in Area 22, Kakashi informed. Naruko's face brightened. "Thanks, Kakashi," she said, sprinting off. Hatake resumed walking, followed by his team. "To answer your question, we're heading to the Land of Waves. Someone is waiting at the gates, a bridge builder. We're on escort duty." Genma's team trained vigorously in a free-for-all. Shino maintained range, aware that his teammates excelled in close combat. Hinata's precision and Choji's strength posed a challenge, and Genma observed closely. "Human bowler," Choji shouted, rushing toward Shino while avoiding Hinata's attacks. Shino responded by directing a wave of insects, forcing Choji to crash into a tree. Hinata seized the moment, ensuring she stayed safe from Shino's techniques. Genma nodded in approval, though his attention shifted when he sensed someone approaching. "Move along," he called. A voice replied, familiar and insistent. Sorry, Genma-sensei. I really need your help. Recognizing her, Genma raised an eyebrow. Need my help? Your tricks must be getting rusty, he teased. Naruko frowned. I'm serious. I need your instruction, please. Genma sighed. What do you want? Well, you're said to be the best at using senbon in the village. I want to learn from you, Naruko explained eagerly. Senbon? Genma repeated, intrigued but hesitant. Naruko described a battle with Inoenji Yamanaka, noting the speed and precision of chakra-powered senbon. Genma's interest grew as she explained. So you want to learn advanced techniques? From the best, he remarked, adjusting his bandana. Exactly. Will you teach me? Naruko asked. Genma considered carefully. He didn't want another apprentice, but Naruko's determination was evident. You said you'd do anything, he reminded her. Yes. Anything. Naruko replied. Then here's the condition. If I teach you, you must fulfill my task first, he said with a sly smile. Naruko blinked. What kind of task? A small favor. Nothing dangerous, just something personal, Genma said. Naruko frowned but nodded. Deal. Now, take this scroll. It will teach you the basics of senbon. Master it thoroughly, and I'll help you with the advanced techniques. Buy any necessary supplies, you have the means. Naruko accepted the scroll eagerly, ready to begin her training. No. Come on. I'll owe you. No. But it's for my training. No. Anko-sensei. Here's a deal. Convince my boyfriend to let me go on a date with Genma, and I'll do it. But good luck with that. I didn't even know you had a boyfriend. Naruko muttered. Anko laughed. What did you think, that I liked girls or something? Naruko's face flushed slightly. Well. No, but. Forget it. As usual, Anko seemed to delight in Naruko's awkwardness. A small smile played on her lips as they approached the doors to her home. Come on in. You can meet him if you really want. I'm pretty sure he's here right now. Curious, Naruko decided to enter, partly because her chance to receive senbon training from Genma depended on this visit. But as she stepped through the doorway, her eyes widened in disbelief. A man was lounging on the couch with several others nearby, creating a chaotic scene. Before Naruko could fully process it, Anko had already swung the door open and promptly escorted the man outside. He scrambled to regain his composure, but Anko quickly turned back inside to address the rest of the group. Everyone, please leave immediately. Make sure he understands he shouldn't return without permission. Once the room was cleared, Anko looked at Naruko and observed her stunned expression. At least it wasn't too overwhelming. You're okay, right? You don't need counseling or anything, she said with a teasing tone. Aren't you upset? Why would I be? You brought me a replacement just in time, Anko replied, glancing at the couch, where only a few discarded items remained. Although, I suppose I'll need a new couch now, she added thoughtfully. The next day, the look of surprise on Genma's face when Naruko and Anko arrived at the training grounds was priceless. His mouth fell open slightly, and the senbon nearly slipped from his grip. Naruko laughed quietly at his reaction, while Anko silently waited for him to respond. She actually agreed? He asked, his tone flat. Why didn't you just ask me? I don't really know you, he shrugged. I didn't think Naruko would manage to make this happen, so I figured this would be easier. Anko's eyes narrowed. So, in other words, you don't want me involved? Genma blinked. What? No. I mean yes. He trailed off, clearly flustered. Well. Thanks for clarifying, Anko replied sarcastically. Sorry, Naruko, but this is a bit ridiculous, she added, turning to leave. Maybe this helps. Izanaki's at 7? Genma offered. Pain and Konan observed their holographic comrades with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Naruko and Orochimaru's figures, illuminated by the long-distance communication jutsu, maintained composed body language and professional tones, aside from the occasional dramatic flair from the Sannin. As expected, Orochimaru dominated most of the conversation. To Pain's frustration, he could not fully discern their intentions, and he silently questioned whether trusting them as part of the Akatsuki had been wise. The entire organization consisted of highly skilled individuals, none fully trustworthy. But this duo presented an even greater challenge. Naruko had been recruited by Madara, the one person Pain trusted less than anyone else. On top of that, Naruko had been involved in controversial actions in her past, making her even more enigmatic than Sasori, whose comments were usually task-focused. In contrast, Orochimaru seemed effortlessly composed and showed no animosity toward Naruko, despite her complex history. Yet, considering Orochimaru's own unconventional choices that led to his exile, it was plausible he simply prioritized his goals over personal grudges. That, however, did little to inspire trust. What is Danzo's significance? Why should the Akatsuki allocate resources to your personal mission? Pain asked. Orochimaru's lips curved into a faint, cunning smile. Because Danzo is persistent. And if he continues to search for me, sensitive information about the Akatsuki could potentially be exposed. We wouldn't want that, would we? He left out the details of Naruko's arrangement with Danzo regarding her past. If Danzo were truly persistent, his subordinates would have been more effective, Pain countered. How would you know that? Naruko interjected smoothly. Did Zetsu tell you? Her remark revealed her awareness of hidden observations. Orochimaru feigned surprise. Zetsu has been observing us? I hadn't noticed, she replied with a dry chuckle. Konan tensed slightly, sensing the conversation could spiral if unchecked. Before Pain could respond, Naruko continued. It's unwise to spy on your own allies, it's unbecoming of a leader. Orochimaru stifled a quiet amusement at the irony of Naruko lecturing Pain on surveillance. Let's table that discussion for now, Pain suggested. Why do you consider Danzo a threat? He's not like the usual Leaf personnel, Orochimaru explained. He will go to extraordinary lengths to track me down, and likely Naruko as well. We recently intervened in one of his operations, she added with calculated ambiguity. Pain furrowed his brow but allowed it to pass. Very well. You may handle this matter once your team's responsibilities are met. Why delay? Orochimaru asked. Last I checked, pursuing these objectives was the reason you sought Kakuzu's expertise. Kakuzu specializes in that area, but all teams must contribute to meet our organizational goals, Pain explained. Orochimaru gave a dismissive nod. Understood. Danzo will have to wait. We will take our leave. With that, the holograms of the duo dissipated. I do not trust them, Pain admitted. Nor do I, Konan agreed. You are wise, a third voice chimed from behind, revealing Madara himself, apparently dropping the Toby guys temporarily. Though Danzo may pose a challenge, I see no objection to Naruko and Orochimaru managing it. Pain, though wary of Madara, conceded that any action benefiting the organization's objectives, and Naruko's strategic goals, was acceptable. Madara continued thoughtfully, it is unusual for Naruko, who prioritizes the safety of her village, to take such risks by collaborating with Orochimaru. Perhaps Toby should personally monitor them rather than Zetsu. Konan bristled at the alias but Pain nodded. That would be prudent, Zetsu is ill-suited to observe someone like Naruko. 4 days later, Naruko and Orochimaru quietly traversed a dense forest, its flora vibrant yet teeming with minimal animal activity. They moved with wordless coordination, aware Zetsu could be observing them. After over an hour, subtle movements rustled the leaves behind them. Both paused, scanned the area, and found nothing. When it occurred a third time, Naruko instinctively drew a kunai. It's not Zetsu, he's not careless, she stated. Orochimaru nodded. Agreed, it must be someone else. Just then, a toad hopped into view, pausing to observe Orochimaru before retreating. Naruko quickly understood the signal and followed. They considered the possibility of Zetsu observing, noting they might need to stage an elaborate demonstration to maintain appearances. Eventually, the toad led them to an old stone bridge arching over a serene river, where Jiraiya sat perched. Orochimaru, concealing her amusement, greeted him with a mock compliment. You have excellent taste, Jiraiya. A truly splendid location, she said with a sly grin. Jiraiya played along, aware of the pretense. Really? You're admitting I have good taste? He teased. Naruko glanced at her partner, uncertain if Jiraiya knew she was undercover. Regardless, she reminded herself that his response would not alter their mission. The staged interactions were critical, ensuring neither Zetsu nor others could detect their true intentions. So, shall we begin, or does the honor fall to you? Orochimaru asked, adjusting her dark hair. Honor hasn't been yours for some time, Jiraiya retorted with a snort. Orochimaru smirked. Acting, an essential skill for infiltration, was one area in which the two Sannin excelled. Even if Zetsu observed, the subtleties of their performance would likely be lost on him. Prepare yourself, she warned, summoning a larger toad with a single katana, a deliberate part of the stage display. It was clear the objective was to maintain appearances without causing actual harm. She chuckled to herself. You wish to engage in the summon game? She asked, intentionally creating a minor error in the summoning technique. It was an opportunity to guide events carefully, ensuring the mission progressed without unnecessary risk. If you think you've hesitated long enough, let's get this done quickly. I want to conserve enough chakra for the next challenge with Itachi as well, she declared confidently. Do you really believe that's feasible? Your ambition exceeds your reputation, a voice retorted. Not far away, a masked shinobi observed the unfolding events, his Sharingan recording every detail with curiosity, hoping to study the techniques of the legendary Sannin. Without warning, Jiraiya summoned charged with her katana, but to Enick's surprise, Orochimaru moved to intercept rather than leaving it to the snake. A small snake emerged from his mouth, its head revealing the sword of Kusanagi and deftly parrying the strike. The toad struggled for a moment, then leapt back. Kusanagi was fully revealed, and the Sannin gripped it firmly. Enick slithered to his side. Am I assisting with the toad or not? The snake inquired. You are, Orochimaru confirmed. I wanted to bring Kusanagi into play myself, so this position is more strategic. Meanwhile, Jiraiya had entered sage mode, with Fukasaku and Shima whispering guidance from his shoulders. Orochimaru quickly recognized the senjutsu. Enick. Here, he said, offering Kusanagi. Thank you, Lord Orochimaru, the snake accepted, gripping the hilt with precision. Though wielding a sword was challenging for a snake, Orochimaru had trained Enick specifically for this. Enick then reduced his size slightly to match the toad's proportions for the duel ahead. Sage mode. Itachi noted silently. I wonder how Orochimaru plans to counter it. I see. You've been gathering energy for sage mode while waiting for our arrival. Clever, he commented. Though, such techniques won't impress everyone. The snake Sannin chuckled as Jiraiya ignored the remark and charged forward with enhanced speed. The Akatsuki double agent had witnessed Jiraiya's sage mode before and anticipated the Sannin's strategic precision. As Jiraiya closed in, a sudden flurry of snakes emerged from Orochimaru's sleeves. The toad Sannin leapt to evade them, but each snake released chakra-propelled kunai with explosive tags. Jiraiya skillfully avoided the attacks, but barely noticed an Akatsuki ally appearing behind him, nudging him back into the stone bridge. He quickly regained his stance and saw Orochimaru performing signs for an advanced jutsu. Jiraiya threw shuriken to disrupt the movements, but they passed through harmlessly. The target was a rock clone. Water style, mouth of the serpent, Orochimaru declared, shaping river water into a serpentine form that lunged at the sage. Jiraiya's speed allowed him to evade and outrun it, though Orochimaru subtly guided the serpent remotely. The more energy the toad Sannin expended, the better the plan unfolded. Jiraiya leapt off the bridge, the water serpent following, but he cleverly grabbed the edge and redirected the flow, returning safely. Itachi observed with composed interest. Sage mode is effective, yet Orochimaru's coordination is remarkable. My partner is performing exceptionally. Gamasuya, the sword toad, exhaled in concentration. The snake Enick matched her swordplay, a level of agility and unpredictability unlike any she had encountered. He dodged her strikes with skill, spinning and countering gracefully. Enick's clever maneuvers forced the toad to adapt, ultimately stepping back strategically. Jiraiya struck with a high-speed leg attack, but Orochimaru countered with an evasive handspring. The toad Sannin's reflexes in sage mode allowed her to deflect each subsequent strike. Orochimaru's offensive was precise, yet Jiraiya's sage-enhanced reflexes held firm. The snake Sannin ducked and delivered a strategic strike to Jiraiya's chest, testing his reactions. Jiraiya staggered but quickly regained control, blocking the next series of taijutsu moves. Orochimaru landed a calculated blow to test defenses, but Jiraiya was ready. The battle remained a test of skill, energy, and strategy rather than brute force. In the midst of the chaos, Orochimaru transformed from a snake back into his humanoid form, summoning multiple small fireballs and manipulating water currents to create obstacles. Jiraiya adapted, using his surroundings and sage techniques to maintain control of the battlefield. Excellent work, Itachi observed. Your coordination with the summons demonstrates impressive skill. Thank you, Orochimaru replied modestly. Enick, return the sword. The snake complied, and Orochimaru smoothly concluded the exchange. Let's proceed, the snake Sannin said, addressing only Itachi as he planned the next step. Jiraiya's eyes brightened as he reunited with Fukasaku and Shima. Oh, thank goodness, Shima exclaimed. Jiraiya, are you all right? Fukasaku asked.
I think so, Jiraiya replied.
Orochimaru and Itachi were gone. They helped bring you safely to land with a pair of water snakes, but neither is visible now, Shima explained. Jiraiya reflected on the encounter. Orochimaru's skill had been formidable, yet the outcome worked to their advantage. The Sannin smiled, grateful for the precise and discreet assistance provided by the snakes. The scrolls recovered contained critical information about Akatsuki operations, plans, and other important developments. Jiraiya reviewed them carefully, noting the need to return to the hidden leaf and report to his sensei immediately. One scroll was marked specifically for Anko, which he respectfully set aside without reading. Unseen, an Uchiha still observed the area. It seemed Orochimaru had anticipated the presence of a watcher, demonstrating his careful and calculated approach. Sarutobi stepped into Jiraiya's room and sighed in relief, noticing that his former student looked far better than he had feared. Jiraiya. "Hello, sensei," she greeted warmly. "I'm sorry, the mission delayed me, so I don't have the conclusion of that next book ready yet." "Jiraiya." Sarutobi interrupted, blushing slightly. He didn't want the nurses and staff to gossip about the fact that he had been reading Jiraiya's novels. Both of them suddenly burst into laughter, and Sarutobi's expression softened as he looked at his student. "How was your reunion with our old friend?" She rubbed a few minor scrapes on her arms. "It could have been worse," her tone darkened slightly. "But I need your help leaving this place so we can discuss the scroll he left me. Some of it doesn't make sense to me, but you might fill in the knowledge I'm missing about." Orochimaru's associate, she explained, careful not to mention the notorious name in front of the civilians. Hiruzen's eyes widened. "Orochimaru knows. He actually left 2 scrolls, but one is specifically labeled for Anko, which seems more personal than professional." The third Hokage nodded thoughtfully. "That is fine, I will speak with her to confirm it is only that." After consulting with the medical staff while Jiraiya got dressed, Sarutobi guided his former student out. They shared light conversation as they walked through the hallways. Ino Yamanaka passed them in the opposite direction with a bouquet of flowers and offered a polite smile. After she walked by, Sarutobi scowled, a look that did not go unnoticed by Jiraiya, who immediately drifted into a brief, silly daydream. "You're hopeless," Sarutobi whispered. "But it makes me a better writer," Jiraiya replied. "That's debatable." "Then why do you read?" he asked, earning an embarrassed blush from the Hokage. "Because. It's free," Sarutobi mumbled. "I don't believe that for a second, sensei." Later, Ino approached Shikamaru, setting her flowers beside several others already in the room. "Hello, Shikamaru," she greeted. "Hey," he replied, glancing at the colorful display of flowers. "How are you feeling now?" she asked, hands resting on her hips. I'm fine. I'm supposed to be discharged later today," he explained with minimal enthusiasm. She raised an eyebrow. "Doesn't that make you happy?" Shikamaru paused, looking thoughtfully out the window. "Well, the hospital is boring, and the food isn't impressive." "That's it?" she exclaimed. "They do almost everything for me, I don't have to work at all, and I even have a window for cloud watching," he gestured outside. "I don't have to do the tedious things I usually do." "You are the most relaxed person on the planet," Ino scolded, but he only shrugged. "So?" Ino groaned, facepalming. Shikamaru waited patiently. "Ino. I was wondering. Not that I don't appreciate it, but why have you visited me every day, bringing flowers and staying to chat each time?" She blinked at him, a little embarrassed. "Isn't that normal?" "Well, yes," he conceded. "Except we didn't really get along at the academy, but now you visit me more than my own family or team." She thought for a moment. "Well, don't get the wrong idea. The flowers were free, my family owns a shop. I also felt I should be here for you, considering Inoenji was from my clan." She explained, a hint of sadness in her voice. Shikamaru's eyebrows rose, impressed. "You know what my father told me the first night? He said not to blame ourselves for the actions of others. We're Jinan, and it wasn't our responsibility. No one expects you to feel indebted for Inoenji's mistakes." She looked uncertain. "But he was a Yamanaka. The least I could do is. If we let ourselves feel responsible for what distant relatives do, we get tangled in unnecessary guilt. Clans aren't everything," Shikamaru interrupted gently. "Don't feel bad around me because of someone else's choices." She stared blankly, unsure what to say. He softened his tone. "Still, I enjoyed your visits," he added with a small but genuine smile. "So don't take my words the wrong way," she said, smiling as she settled onto the bed and lightly placed her hand on his shoulder. "Thanks, Shikamaru," she said warmly. He returned the gesture with a nod, and she pulled away. Now it's my turn to say, don't misinterpret my words, she teased. She laughed shyly. Oh, hush. Why would I want to go out with you when I have Sasuke? Didn't you hear? Sasuke asked Sakura to marry him last night. Wah, she began, exclaiming in surprise, before laughing along with him. After a few more exchanges, she bid him farewell. Shikamaru turned back to the window, cloud-watching and lost in thought. Meanwhile, Anko returned home, removing her shoes and reflecting on her recent experiences. She had gone on a date with Genma. It had been awkward, but they had enjoyed some after-dinner activities nonetheless. She was certain Naruko would continue her training, and there was no need to inform her of these personal matters. While washing her hands, she noticed a scroll on her counter. Curiosity piqued, she quickly dried her hands and unraveled it. The scroll read, "For Anko." Her eyes widened as she recognized Orochimaru's handwriting. "Hello Anko. I hope you and your team are doing well. Kink sent a messenger to update me about your recent mission. Excellent work handling the situation. The messenger also mentioned that one of your teammates has signed the snake contract, Kiba Inuzuka, if I recall correctly. I suggest encouraging the others to consider it as well. My own mission continues to be engaging. You may inform your sensei that I have uncovered important information regarding Itachi Uchiha, my partner in the Akatsuki. I want you to have the facts as part of the broader strategy. On a brighter note, I will likely visit the village soon and hope to meet your team in person. I may offer guidance and instruction where needed, though I remain an S-class ninja in special circumstances. Until we next communicate. Your sensei. P.S. The seal below holds a gift." Anko laughed softly, though a tear slipped from her left eye. "A gift, huh?" She released the seal and was astonished to see a pair of earrings shaped like nines as the smoke cleared. She gave me her earrings. She picked them up and hurried to the bathroom to see her reflection as she carefully put them on. "Better than anything my ex gave me," she chuckled quietly. "Thanks, sensei. Wherever you are. I expect a thorough explanation, Orochimaru," Anko demanded. Orochimaru waved dismissively. "It seems Zetsu has been observing us. If he had been diligent, he would have noticed that I used a complex water jutsu intended to neutralize Jiraiya without causing harm. We cannot gather evidence without results," he explained, his tone calm but pointed. Pain's emotionless gaze flickered between the black and white Zetsu. White Zetsu stuttered nervously, while black Zetsu subtly glanced at Toby. "How are we supposed to confirm that?" he silently asked the masked shinobi, who nodded subtly. "Yes." Zetsu finally responded, startling his white counterpart. Itachi frowned, unusually tense. "Then why are we wasting time, Zetsu?" "Enough," Pain interrupted. "Orochimaru, Itachi, you are tasked with tracking the remaining Sannin. You will need to bring proof of your efforts. Since I cannot spare Zetsu, and Kakuzu has sufficient responsibilities, I will send Sasori to assist you in locating them," he instructed, acknowledging the elusiveness of Tsunade. "That will not be necessary." Orochimaru declined politely. "I did not ask whether it was necessary. You may leave. Zetsu will contact you once Sasori has determined a meeting point." "Understood?" Orochimaru gave a curt nod, and Itachi offered no response. Pain did not press, unsurprised. "Why Sasori? Wouldn't it have been simpler to send me?" Toby asked, curiosity evident. "Toby? You consider yourself capable of tracking?" White Zetsu asked. "Capable might be an overstatement," Black Zetsu teased gently. "Competent, even more so." "Zetsu, attend to your responsibilities," Pain reminded. "Of course," White Zetsu replied with an exaggerated farewell. After the hologram faded, Pain exhaled, finally able to think without constraint. "Zetsu continues to surprise," Madara commented, absent-mindedly. Ignoring him, Pain pressed on. "You will still need to observe them. Sasori's presence is no guarantee. If they seek guidance from Tsunade Senju, we cannot rely on him alone." Under Toby's mask, Madara raised an eyebrow. "Why pursue the Senju at all? My Sharingan shows that his jutsu is not overwhelmingly powerful. In fact, it implies that Itachi may also be acting independently. Possibly in collaboration." Pain added thoughtfully, "Even within our own ranks. I noticed Orochimaru's techniques prevented Jiraiya from harm. He remained composed upon discovering the situation," Madara observed. Pain clenched his fist as he realized the implications. They are not just acting independently, they are working strategically with the Hidden Leaf Village. Anko sat quietly, Her expression tense and conflicted. She felt a mixture of frustration, confusion, and disbelief. Frustration that she only learned the truth because Orochimaru discovered it. Confusion that the Hokage and select others had withheld critical information. Disbelief that the Uchiha situation had been so complex and burdensome. She read the name Shisui Uchiha. She was at the Uchiha cemetery, a place honoring the clan's departed members. Why had she come here? She did not know. Perhaps this was her way of seeking peace with the truths revealed by Sarutobi. She wanted to resent Orochimaru's former sensei, yet she could not after witnessing the care etched in the old man's face. Itachi's choices were not Sarutobi's will, they were an example of the difficult lessons Orochimaru had imparted. A Hokage must always put the village first. They must make decisions that, while challenging, ultimately serve the village's best interests, Orochimaru had said. No, this isn't for the best. This mission is far too risky. Anko objected. Orochimaru remained unbothered. You still have much to learn, Anko. I hope to one day take a leadership role, but a Hokage cannot personally undertake every mission. Some decisions require action from those willing to step forward. Anko struggled to comprehend. But why risk yourself? For any leader to safeguard those they care about, they may choose to take on a task themselves. Leaders do not always act in the village itself, sometimes they must act beyond it. Unlike previous Hokage, I am not constrained by formal duties, so I will step in, he explained. Anko's eyes welled with tears, despite her usual toughness. Her sensei was embracing a mission of great challenge, and for the first time, she admitted her concern openly. A reassuring hand rested on her shoulder. She turned to see Jiraiya's steady face. Have faith in your sensei, he said. She nodded, accepting a tissue with quiet gratitude. The will of fire. That is what Itachi inherited. It allowed him to make unimaginable sacrifices for the sake of the village, she whispered. Indeed, it was for the village's protection. Itachi's actions, though difficult to comprehend, were guided by responsibility and care. Orochimaru's choice to take on the Akatsuki mission was no different, difficult, necessary, and guided by the same unwavering dedication. Zetsu is not present. Orochimaru nodded. I am aware. Then perhaps we should formulate a plan. Itachi? Are you admitting you do not have a plan for once? Orochimaru asked with mild amusement. This isn't the time for interruptions, Itachi replied. Yes, I know. I just haven't found a strategy that doesn't risk exposure. Orochimaru admitted. Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan blinked in silent inquiry. Orochimaru, skilled in reading his expressions, recognized the concern. I presume your plan relies on Sasori being neutralized? Something along those lines, the snake Sanin confirmed. If Sasori is removed from the equation, Pain will recognize our intentions. Even a staged scenario would still be apparent. Tsunade. If luck favors us, I can locate Tsunade quickly. She was my teammate, which gives us an advantage. It may slow us down in other matters, but it ensures safety and provides more time to address Sasori, she reasoned. While navigating complex duties, the rogue ninja maintained a focus on high-value targets outside the Land of Fire, prioritizing safety and fairness. Pain's scrutiny ensured their actions were deliberate and measured. What is our next step? Shikamaru wondered why he had agreed to have dinner with her. It wasn't a formal outing, Ino simply wanted to spend time somewhere other than the hospital. At first, it seemed like a pleasant idea. He genuinely enjoyed her visits before his release from that restrictive hospital bed. The challenge was that Ino loved to share every thought she had about Sasuke, giggling at times and describing things that held little meaning for him. Shikamaru quickly realized she was unintentionally placing him in the role of a confidant for a friend she wasn't seeing eye to eye with. Doesn't she realize I'm not part of this? He thought silently, trying to make sense of the conversation. And by the time his shirt was dry, practice was over, and we all went our separate ways. I'm glad you're so happy about it. Shikamaru replied, forcing a polite smile. Ino raised an eyebrow as she took a bite of her meal. Can we avoid talking about Sasuke? Especially like that. She giggled. Oh. Did I make it awkward? Jealousy is tricky, Shikamaru. I'm jealous? Really? He stopped mid-thought as a familiar figure appeared in his peripheral vision. Shikamaru. What a coincidence. Why didn't you mention you were meeting someone? It's not a date, sensei, he clarified. And what's with your hair? It looks unusual today. The unique spike-shaped bangs were a bit unsettling. Ino noticed and discreetly tried to suppress a laugh, wanting to remain polite. She had never interacted much with Anko-sensei and had no intention of crossing her. Shikamaru also noticed her earrings, a pair shaped like nines, which he didn't recall her wearing before. Anko arched an eyebrow. That sounds like something Naruko would say to me. Feeling brave today? Shikamaru exhaled in mild exasperation. If you don't want to listen to me, you can ask Ino, he said, shooting her a smirk, slightly payback for the earlier conversation. Ino's eyes narrowed at him, while Anko regarded the kunoichi with a sharp gaze, silently challenging her. Then an idea sparked in Ino's mind, a clever way to save face. She rummaged through her bag and pulled out a small mirror. Why ask me when you can see for yourself? She offered cheerfully, sticking her tongue out playfully at Shikamaru when he reached for it. I think the wind messed it up while I was over in the Uchiha district, she explained, lightly adjusting her hair with her fingers. Thanks for pointing it out, Shikamaru. He shrugged, but Ino's curiosity got the better of her. The Uchiha district? What were you doing there? Did Sasuke ask for help with training? Why wasn't I invited? Ino. Shikamaru interrupted, exasperated. Could she not take a break from thinking about Sasuke for 5 minutes? Anko waved it off. Nothing important. He didn't even know I was there. Anyway, they're calling my order number. I grabbed some takeout, so I'll see you tomorrow. With that, she left without teasing them about it being a date, much to the relief of both Nara and Yamanaka. I need to watch my words, Anko reminded herself. Sensei would not be impressed. But visiting the Uchiha district wasn't a crime, private land or not. She took her takeout and headed out, feeling a slight lift in her mood. Perhaps these young ninja would get along better than they realized. The initial tension over recent events had subsided by the day's end, and Anko looked forward to returning to her work the next day. Her Jinan had much to learn, and she couldn't help but smile at the thought of the challenges and excitement that lay ahead. Dear YouTube family. This is all for now. Remember, your support fuels creativity, so please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, 6 Path Weeb. Stay curious, stay passionate, and I'll see you in the next adventure.